Hello guys and gals, this is What's Spawn What Ifs here, and this is going to be a new series. More specifically, what if Belle was in the RWBY universe? Now then, we start off with Belle, his entire familia, along with several others, including the Loki familia and Freya familia, fighting together to, well, once and for all defeat and kill the Black Dragon. Although sadly, most of them died trying. One by one, Belle's friends and, at this point, family start to die, one by one. After days of fighting, Belle is one of the few that remains. And, well, he has started to lose hope, as the Black Dragon, although it has been wounded quite severely, it still won't go down, while Belle is currently missing his right arm. The dragon, well, bit it off, as it realizes that Belle is its, well, let's say, the main priority currently, because he is the only one currently left alive that can kill it. Something which the Black Dragon himself thought he would never have to, well, face someone like Belle. Belle was by far the strongest adventurer the Black Dragon had ever faced. He was more powerful than several familiars combined, and the items he had were all handcrafted by Hephaestus. So yeah. And well, as Belle began to charge at the dragon once again, charging up multiple different spells, that being Fireball, Lightning, and, well, Warding Magic, he was able to get a couple of good hits in on the Black Dragon. Sadly, that did, well, little to nothing to the Black Dragon, as out of nowhere Belle gets tail whipped by him, as Belle is now, well, inside of a mountain. He slowly starts, well, going unconscious. And well, before that happens, he gets woken up, or at least shake back to his senses. Who was that? Well, the one who had done that to him was his currently, well, wife. Eyes. And as he opened his eyes, he sees eyes in front of him. For a moment he's happy, but then that moment slips from his grasp, just as he sees eyes simply fall down on him. And as he, now fully back into his senses, looks at her, he sees that that she has a deep, deep cut on her back, going all the way from her neck to her leg. Eyes had just died, and with that, Belle was the last one remaining against the Black Dragon. At this point, the gods that had been watching the entire battle unfold have all but lost hope. The only ones who were, well, the only ones that still had hope in Belle were Hestia and her friends. And well, to be frank, even some of her friends actually start to lose hope at this moment. But as soon as Belle saw what the Black Dragon did to his wife, he slowly got back up, with the Black Dragon, well, admiring how exactly strong Belle was. And well, before the Black Dragon could even utter a single word, a magic, well, or a fireball is tossed right at him, this one being quite a bit different. Mainly because instead of being regular fire, it was completely and utterly white. And that's when the dragon realized what exactly did Belle just, well, fire at him. And because the dragon was quite cocky in his own abilities, he didn't dodge in time, as that white fireball had just all but vaporized over half of his body. The only thing remaining was his upper half, including his head. He only had one of his wings left, and well, at this exact moment, Belle grabbed onto, well, Ice's sword, one which was also crafted by Hephaestus. This one having several traces of, well, light magic and lightning magic. Needless to say, as soon as the Belle saw the opening that the black dragon was in quite a bit of pain, Belle immediately started running, sprinting at full speed and then jumping. As the black dragon finally regained some of its composure, it looked where Belle was. It didn't see him at the mountain, and that's when he noticed a shadow forming above him. As soon as he put his head to see, well, what exactly that shadow was, at that exact moment, Belle, with Ice's sword, pierced the skull of the black dragon. And well, although this wouldn't have been enough to kill the black dragon, that's when Belle used another one. The lightning spells imbued into the sword. And after that, the black dragon was all but dead. It only had a few seconds left to live. And just as Belle was, well, getting his sword out of its head to jump off, the dragon quite quickly, moves his head backwards, as Belle then falls off and the black dragon, well, opens its mouth and bites down Belle, right in the middle of his torso. Belle's, or well, most of his organs have now been punctured by, well, the teeth of the dragon, as the dragon begins to laugh hysterically, as the final words Belle ever heard were of the dragon mocking him and telling him, well, if I'm going to die, I'm taking you with me. And just like that, the black dragon falls, dead, with Belle still in his mouth. Belle now knows that he did exactly what the gods wanted him to do. Defeat the last remaining quest. Conquer it. And well, just like that, after a few more moments, Belle closes his eyes, being thankful for all of his friends who stayed by him and fought with him against the dragon. And well, just as Belle thinks that it's finally his time has come, he gets, well, teleported somewhere. Not his body, but rather his soul. As Belle opens his eyes again, he is met with the faces of thousands upon thousands of gods looking at him. Not down upon him, but actually looking at him as if Belle was an equal to them. And that's when someone comes up from the crowd, that being Hestia, along with several other quite powerful gods, those being Odin, Thor, Uranus, Zeus, Hera, and even Freya and Loki. As all of these gods are just standing, well, right in front of him, Belle tries to speak, but notices that he can't. And that's when Hestia, well, puts her finger on her mouth and tells him to shush. That this is only going to take a couple of moments. As Belle is at this point quite confused, all of the gods at the same time start chanting something. He doesn't know what exactly, but after they finish, Bell is blinded by a flash of light. And then, after that had happened, Bell opens his eyes again. But this time, it's different. He is now living again, in a body, although with one major difference. He is no longer, well, Bell, or at least what he thought he was. He was no longer the hero of all adventurers and the champion of the gods who slayed the black dragon. Now he was but a child being held in a strange woman's arms. And that's when Bell puts two and two together. He had just been reincarnated. And well, as Bell, now fully conscious and in the child's body, starts looking around, as he sees his mother and his father, and what he thinks is his father. His mother is a woman with pure brown hair and, well, golden eyes, while his father, or at least the man he thinks is his father, is currently wearing a full plate armor, so he can't exactly see him so well. But his father does give, or at least puts something onto the cabinet right next to them. That being, well, a small pendant. Now, Bell did not know what this pendant was, but oh boy, was he gonna figure out once he got older. As his mother, now cradling him, also started to cry because she was happy. Her baby boy was born without any sort of accidents happening. And that's when Bell goes ahead and turns around and he sees what he believes are golems. Now then, since the universe of RWBY is quite a bit more advanced than March's universe, Bell mistakes robots, or nursing robots, for golems. And that's when he hears them speak in a, well, metallic voice. Not exactly like golems, but yeah, Bell still thought that he got reincarnated into the same world, just to a different body. And well, when his mother, after being 2 weeks in the hospital alongside Bell, as his mother finally takes him outside, Bell finally sees where exactly he is. In a gigantic city with skyscrapers all over. Yeah, at this point Bell knew that he was no longer in his original world. He was reincarnated to a completely different one. And well, as Bell is looking, well, just every single sight he can see, towers which were even higher than the dungeon tower in his own world were scattered around, well, everywhere. Almost everywhere he looked, he saw gigantic towers floating what he thought were ships or carts, but in reality they were simply hovercraft. And as he saw the robots, which he thought were golems. But that's when he heard a familiar sound, the sound of marching. And as Bell looked down towards the street alongside his mother, he saw the man who he thinks is his father, marching at the head of a gigantic, well, column of other knights in similar armor to him. And now then, after this little moment, Bell's mother takes him back home, as he sees that they live in a rather huge mansion. And by huge, I mean that the mansion which they lived in, that being Apollo's mansion, which he lost in, well, season 2 of Tenmachi. Yeah, that was, compared to where he now lived, a small hut. Yeah. And well, later on, after a couple of years and actually learning how to write and speak the languages of this new world, yeah, at 4 years old he was able to completely understand and perfectly write the language, and was also able to speak it as well. And that's when he goes, and at that moment he went ahead to his father's or mother's study. As he goes ahead and actually sees or learns about this world, he learns about what exactly Grimm are, what exactly semblances are, and what dust is. Although Bell is quite unfamiliar with this, or at least the semblance part, he starts, well, putting things together, at least somewhat, to not be as much confused. He starts thinking of semblances as, well, skills, or unique skills which are only applied to, well, one human, and he's the only one that can have that skill. While he thinks of dust as, well, magic incantations which he can use. And well, as he goes ahead and actually starts reading about everything in his father's study, his father enters the room. As his father, whose name is Apollyon, is actually quite surprised to see Belle there. Especially quite surprised as he sees that Belle is reading, well, not a children's book, but rather a strategic guide. Yeah, Belle, now that he got older in, well, Danmachi, before he died, he was fascinated by leading armies into battle, which he had done quite a few times in multiple wars. But that's a story for a different day. And well, as his father actually sees what he's reading, he asks Belle does he know that that's not a book for children, with Belle simply shaking his head. That's when Belle's new father, or well, yeah, father goes ahead, picks him up, and takes him to a secret compartment which he has in his study. As he puts a code in, and well, a hidden door opens. And well, as his father begins taking down his son down the flight of stairs, his son sees an entire armory. Dozens upon dozens of different armor suits, different types of weapons, entire containers of dust, and, well, everything anyone could really want. As Belle's father now tells him that if Belle wants to, he can teach him what exactly everything in this, well, armory does, and when it was made, and who wore it. Has the 11, or well, that is dozens of armors which were now seated on armor racks, each belonged to a previous member of Belle's new family, going from the oldest, which, as Belle saw it, was, well, not even plate armor. It was plain chainmail with hardened leather on top of it, with quite a good helmet, if nothing else. And yeah, this was the first generation of their family. And well, as Belle goes ahead and starts asking his father what all of this is, what this is, and this is, so on and so forth, several, well, hours pass, and that's when their mother comes in as well and tells both of her, well, knights that dinner is ready. Because even though they live in a gigantic mansion, which, yeah, should have at least 300 or so workers on it, that being butlers and all of that. Yeah, his mother is still the one who cooks the meals for them. And yeah, as Belle's father, Belle, and his mother enter the dining room, yeah, or the dining hall, they all begin to eat, and then also start speaking with each other, smiling all the way. And that's when they get, well, or at least his father gets a message on his, well, phone. Or at least I believe that's what, I know that's not what they're called, what they have in RWBY, but let's just go with phone. As Belle's father is actually, well, tells to his family that he needs to take this. As he goes ahead and starts speaking with another knight. And well, as Belle asks his mother what's so important that someone had to bother father on his day off. And that's when his mother says that it probably has to do with the ring, sweetie. With Belle understanding. Because through all the years he had been going through books and all that, he read up on the history as well, alongside with old mythologies, or old fairy tales, which are the universe of RWBY. Those being about the maidens. So yeah, he knows about the four of them. Alongside how exactly the dream came to be, or at least how the humans think the dream came to be. And well, as his father now comes back from his little, well, rant with another knight, he tells his family that he is terribly sorry, but that he will need to cut this, well, dinner short. With his wife and son understanding, because after all, in this city where they currently live, their father is the head of the Knights Guard. And well, what exactly are the Knights? They're a completely different organization and role than the Huntsmen and Huntresses. The Knights are, well, a rather old order, even older than the Huntsmen and Huntresses themselves. And by how old they are, well, several thousand years old, while the Huntsmen and Huntresses are about 2,300. And now, the orders of the knights, or at least what most of them do, is this. They protect the weak, they fight against the grim, and they make sure that the world is in order. Although throughout the centuries and even millennia, the orders had slowly started to dwindle. At this current moment in time, the Order of the White Lions, that being the order of what Belle's father is the head of, is currently the largest one in, well, the entirety of the world. There are several orders, with the most notable one being, well, the Knight Order of the Silver Phoenixes, which the head of is, well, actually I'm gonna keep it a secret for who the head of that family is. But you're going to, well, see him in the next part. Or at least hear about him in the next part. And now, as a further couple of years pass, at this moment Belle has actually started searching, well, on mechanical books, that being robots, science, and all that. He has actually got it quite accustomed with the books and can now actually, well, make his own programs and also, well, create something. Well, or at least build some prosthetic arms which can move by themselves. Quite basic, but for a 7-year-old child, quite advanced. with both his father and mother being extremely proud. And well, after some time passes, Bell finally sees what his semblance is, because yes, he does have it. His semblance is, well, currently does not have a name. If any of you guys wants to, you can put it down in the comments below. But what exactly his, well, semblance does is this. It's pretty much the same exact skill which he had in, well, Danmachi. That being, if he thinks of heroes of old, or legends, which he, well, read in the books, he would be able to summon them to fight by his side. Not forever, and they're also not exactly that durable, but they still retain most, if not all, of their skills from when they were alive. So, if Bell truly wanted to, he could summon a master swordsman, a master archer, or even a master huntsman or huntress to fight by his side. Of course, these, well, ghosts of past, as he calls them, aren't able to talk. They only come there to fight and aid him. And also, those ghosts which he can summon only work against Grimm, not against other humans. And well, that is his semblance. And well, as the years pass on, now Bell is at 10 years old. He has by this point for the last 4 years been sparring with his, well, father, learning the ropes of how to properly defend himself, fight with a sword, spear, archery, along with a plethora of other weapons. There's being rifles, plasma guns, energy weapons, dust weapons, and all that. But the most comfortable weapon Bell is accustomed to is, well, not daggers like in Danmachi, but rather 2 short swords. Yes, that is what he likes to use. But, as his father told him, the most experience, or well, the greatest weapon Bell can use would be a longsword, as his father tells him that he is the most proficient with it. With Bell agreeing on this, and well, usually when he spars with his 2 short swords always on his hips, while his longsword is always out in his arms. And well, at this point in time, Bell had actually begun working on robotics and all that, so he's quite proficient at it at an early age. And yes, after all of the scientists, doctors, and even other knights saw exactly how much of a genius, well, Bell was, yeah, they began saying that the future of, well, the Silver Lions, or, well, the White Lions, was looking bright. Sadly for Bell, he had no exact, well, reasons of thinking or knowing that the people who were saying that weren't exactly on his father's side and had some other plans for how they wanted this city to be run. And well, yeah, I hope you guys and gals enjoyed. This was part 0 of What If Bell Was in the RWBY universe. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you have a great evening.